Hi, Mara.
Hi, Eri. My name is Mara Menzies, and I am the author of Blood and Gold, which is a book that was inspired by a show that I created for the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in 2019. And I was really interested in exploring the idea that the legacy of colonialism and slavery, but using myth, legend, fantasy as a tool for that exploration to kind of tell these stories, these narratives from a very, very different perspective. And I was really, really lucky to be able to work with Eri, who is a wonderful illustrator. Eri, I'll hand over to you.
Thank you, Mara. My name is Eri Griffin. I am an illustrator specifying black and white ink drawings. And I'm originally from Japan, but I moved to Edinburgh 11 years ago. And then since then, I'm working on the more internationally and locally, but the great opportunity is I can meet, because Edinburgh is so small, I can meet actually I can meet like other people, like collaborate some project together. So this is the one of my greatest experience working with Mara. And obviously Mara is a storyteller, so she's very good at talking. I'm not that great, but yeah, so my apologies. But yeah, so that's how we met. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was really interesting actually, because as you say, I'm a storyteller, primarily performance storyteller. So I generally don't write things down. And, the kind of the creation of this book, it was told in a storytelling format. So I was speaking the words and then telling the story this way. And from the very, very beginning, we knew that the book was going to be illustrated. And because it is kind of delving into the world of myth and fantasy, we really wanted the illustrations to be able to reflect that. So when we were looking out, thinking, right, okay, what style of illustrations, then the black and white illustrations also lend so much to the imagination. And we looked through so many different artists, to the different portfolios, and yours just really stood out. And bonus, you were based in Edinburgh as well, so it was just really, really nice to be able to connect the two. And then I think Berlin got in touch, and you were free and able and willing to take on this huge job, because there were a lot of illustrations to be made.
Yeah, like more than 30 drawings. Yeah, so yeah, that when I was contacted, it was quite a long time. So you were still writing the draft at that point. So I was only told that, okay, so that the story is about Edinburgh, but somehow it's the myth and legend come from like a African background, and somehow it's a story match, and this is not the only one story. So it's the story, multiple stories meet at the end, and like, oh wow, that sounds epic.
And it was just really nice, because I think, when, in the book, we don't really talk about Africa, and we don't talk about Scotland. It's really sort of told in the language.
Yeah.
And, I think if you have the experience of living in Edinburgh City, then St. Giles Cathedral, Arthur's Seat, the old town. And so you're able to kind of visualize it and put that down into some kind of form. So it actually doesn't matter that whoever the reader is, they would still be able to kind of get all of this. But I mean, you did it in such a beautiful way, because I mean, your illustrations anyway, because they're quite abstract, they're shadowy, they they really lend themselves to the imagination. And especially when we were, like you're saying, we're drawing on different kind of African culture as well, and being able to incorporate that in. I think you had a little bit of research to do.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. There's some research is quite tough. Then especially then the very sad part of the story, like that I had to dig on the history and stuff, and oh my god, yeah. But yeah, the very, very exciting part is because I like you mentioned, because I live in Edinburgh, and lots places, you never mention where, but I can see, this must be that place, and that must be, yeah, I know there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because it's also the imagination, like my very much like a logical part of me. Or if I view from this point, I can see this, but I cannot see that landmark. But it's no imagination, so I just combined everything in
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think like people can enjoy and doesn't have to know about Edinburgh or yeah, in anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
people
think
can
because,
imagine.
like you're saying, like we went into like so many different worlds, like, there's the illustration when Arike goes up to the sky and he's meeting all
Yeah,
the gods, so you're kind of in the heavens and,
yeah.
he's kneeling down, he's in the clouds, he's,
Mm,
there was so many different places that you were able to go, I think, which was really, I hope it was quite good fun.
yeah, yeah, true. Because again, because you're a storyteller, the and you don't have you didn't have experience for writing, but obviously your writing is very much like a storytelling. So I can tell like a kind of up down, bit like when you do the storytelling, I think it's not your voice go up and down and it's stable and sometimes like go up again. Yeah, no, the book itself is like that. I can read that way. And yeah, that's then I thought, oh, this would be really nice thing to draw there. But it's obviously we had the beginning of the process, we had like nearly 60 possibilities of the
Yeah, there were a lot. Yes.
because everything is like wow, I can imagine in my head. And yeah, obviously we had to cut down and how the text goes laid out.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
and also I think that process, I think you alluded to it earlier, it's like such a different process because we were doing it in COVID time and lockdown time,
yeah,
so we never actually met face to face. Everything was being
yeah,
done on Zoom and through Excel
mm,
spreadsheets. And
mm.
so yeah, what was that process like for you?
Yeah, that was actually quite interesting process to me because usually I did quite some book illustrations in the past, and usually I'm given like, okay, so the scene is this, and then this you have this much space. Can you draw something in there? And no 1 or 2 pages in between, just pick up what you want to draw in there. So it's all set usually. But this time, like I can join the team. I can also
Freedom.
select. So that's quite exciting part. But because we did only Zoom and emails, so the difficulties was how to manage all those, like this is yes or no. That's we tried on the Zoom. And then already like 1 hour on the Zoom, we only went like first 10.
Yes. Yeah.
I know, God, this is gonna take time. Yeah.
But I think one of the nice things, though, and what was really good about working with you is that, there's just a trust that you have to have with the people that you're working with. And it was like, okay, Eri is she's going to do this and it's going to be fine. And then actually it was, so there was a
Yes.
real freedom in just kind of saying, right, okay, Mara is responsible for this, you are responsible for this,
Mm,
and everybody else in the process as well, with Debs the editor, everyone
mm.
had their own roles, and just kind of seeing it all come
Yeah,
together was really nice.
yeah, very much like so I so I only physically met you once and no other team members, but only Zoom. But somehow I felt really strong teamwork there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
so the editor will do the editing, just organize everyone, and the layout person do the layout, everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
the designer, author, illustrator, and yeah,
Everybody.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah, that's I felt quite good. That, and also it's quite. We moved on quite kind of really in the good rhythm.
Yes,
But
it
fast.
was
Yeah.
fast. It was quite fast, and I don't know if that has anything to do with your, the way that you work, as an artist, because I know that you like to describe yourself as quite messy and
Yeah.
use your fingers, and like how did you actually go about doing the illustrations?
And I usually picture the scene in my head, and that will work. For example, like the girl standing on the hill scene. I will just get really nice picture in my head, and this gonna work. Then I have to clarify everyone what's the what's she wearing, what's her hairstyle, what's the season, what time of the day, and then more like a realistic factors put in. Then I complete in my head first, then just white sheet of paper, some researched photos up on the wall, and just boom. Yeah, so that's my process. So sometimes goes really messy.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
I
haven't.
wish it was that easy. You just say, and then boom,
it's
and then it
really
was
like
done.
a boom. Yeah, because the one actual drawing time is only like kind of average like 5 or 10 minutes is the actual drawing. So that's not all my focus going. It's quite a little bit exhausting, but that's that much speed, like
Yeah,
draw.
yeah,
So yeah, then difficult one is like then I have to go specific details. Or is that perspective accurate, or like very much details I just fix on later.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so that way I enjoyed really much on this book, because now I could use all my imaginations, and I didn't have to go too much like accurate anything, just use my in my head, and I didn't have to think about, okay, so this is big, this is small, and like that. So that was great experience for me.
yeah.
Yeah. And then also the you and the team's reactions are always positive, and Eri, that's so beautiful. So
Yeah.
that's also give me motivation.
Because I think even from the very beginning, I don't know if you remember the first meeting that we had online, and I think the first illustration that you showed us was the daddy long legs,
Yeah.
and it was so cute and perfect, and all it was it was a splodge with then some
Yeah, just
lines scrawled, but it was perfect. It was perfect, and said, yeah, this is exactly the kind of idea, the kind of style that we were looking for. So that was really exciting. Even just from day one, it was, yes, this is going to look so good.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
So that's thank you very much. I'm really glad you like that. But then this time on this book, I did some experiment as well. Just splash up the ink fast. Didn't think anything, just splashed, and then start drawing around that. So then the very accidental the finish. I think people don't notice that much.
but you noticed.
Yeah, I noticed.
Yeah,
So that way I wanted to give more kind of good, like a surprise impact. Yeah, because your story goes on in this direction, and suddenly goes that direction, and coming back, and go another word, then it's like a full of surprise. I
Yes.
really wanted to give like when you flip the page, then you see like what?
Yeah.
So that's
And there's so much movement in a lot of the illustrations as well. Like, you know, there's the one where the birds are being, where the bird is in the hands of the people. You know, when I saw that one, I was like, oh my gosh, because I know the story, of course, and the story is not a very happy story. And then it evoked a lot of emotions. And then there's the one where you see Sanida, the mother, and she's, you know, she's running away from the shadows. The shadows are after her, and she has her children. And that one also, I think it's nice that there was the space, you know, it was quite long. And so you could really kind of carry it over across a couple of pages. And it was, yeah, really, really powerful images as well.
Oh, thank you. Because I think that scene was really strong, and it's so sad as well.
Yeah.
But no, like no, the Sanida's life. It's like, oh my god, yeah, so
Yeah.
sad. That that's so tense scene, and I can almost, when I was reading that Sanida's scene, I can almost hear how you do the storytelling. Like,
Yeah.
it's more like, you know, that I think I mentioned before, but it's reading your book is almost like listening your storytelling. It's not like, I don't feel like reading, it's more like a listening. So yeah, so that's, I think, that much to the very much movement in the illustrations, I think. Yeah, I think, you know, the people cannot stop reading. Like, oh god, what's happening next?
Oh, well, I'm glad that you say that. I'm glad that it comes across as storytelling, because I think, you know, I'm so passionate about storytelling, and to kind of, if there is a way that we can kind of move storytelling into literature in that oral tradition speaking way, then it's a good thing.
How do you start your storyteller experience?
Oh, that's a long story.
Long story.
Yeah, but no, it's basically, you know, it was one of those accidents, because, you know, I didn't realize that storytelling was a thing. I grew up with storytelling. I told a lot of stories. I knew a lot of stories, and it was when I was trying to pass on my African culture to my daughter, even though we're living in Scotland, you know, stories were a natural way of doing that. And so it started from then. And, you know, the whole reason actually for starting those stories was about informing her of her African heritage. And then when I started to do the storytelling, that was going into schools, because of course it's not just for her, it's like her friends, her peers, the children of Scotland. And then it became, you know, not just children. It's like, actually, I entered the world of storytelling here in Scotland, and actually adults need stories or storytelling as much as children. And there are so many different kinds of stories that you can tell, and so many issues to explore. But I really like how, you know, with this one, even though there is no mention of Africa or Scotland, obviously, you know, the story is inspired by my own experiences. And we did have a few conversations about the style and how that African influence can be infused. So there is the mother, the grandmother under the tree. You have Auntie with her big gele. This is not a gele. This is just a head wrap. It's not fancy enough to be a gele. And then even just the way the gods had been illustrated, you know, we had the conversation about, you know, the shoes and the anklets, and how that could just be informed. The Sankofa bird, the one with the, you know, looking backwards but facing forward, looking back but the body is facing forward. So I think you did a really amazing job actually at incorporating, you know, all of these African subtleties.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, like Africa is, I never been there, and I haven't had very much resource about. So yeah, that was quite good education as well to me. Like, oh, yeah. Thank you.
I'm glad. Maybe we should do a Japanese one next, and then I'll have to think of Japanese stories.
Yeah, I think actually, that's a really great idea, because I know then, me too. I wasn't really into that. Them, I didn't know very much about storytellers and the storytelling, but like when you are reading just a book to get information or read a short story from the book, that experience is just one way.
Yeah.
You make action, just open the book and read a story. But like storytelling is more like kind of both way.
Yeah.
Yeah. You hear the story and then you telling the story, and the experience is like it's more like a communication in good way. And of course that because it's also during COVID and the lockdown, I think it was during lockdown we started. Yeah, it's kind of yeah, I think it's March. We were still under lockdown. Yeah, we couldn't meet. Yeah.
Yes.
So so that's especially like you cannot go out and meet other people that often.
Yeah.
That experience was like then I watched a couple of your videos.
Okay.
Yeah, because
I hope they were good ones.
good ones. And like, oh my god, that your body movement, the gesture and stuff when you are doing the storytelling, that's great, because that's exactly the same way I'm drawing as well. Like the people look at me actual drawing, I think people will think, what this person doing? Because my hand.
Use it, it's like a dance, isn't
it?
It's very
very
physical,
much like a
very
dance.
physical.
Yeah. I usually describe it's more like a tennis. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I mean, I think it's been, for me anyway, it's been a really enjoyable experience. And I think even though it was online, I think even just that process, I enjoyed the process, because it was just different. And I guess I think also I made assumptions as well, probably because I thought, okay, she's we all living in Scotland. It's heavily African influenced, Scottish influenced. We have a Japanese illustrator who's going to come with her own kind of cultural heritage and the ideas behind mythology and stories. So I just thought it was going to be such a rich book. And I'm happy with it. I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, one of my very proud job now. Yeah, so very happy. Can I ask you, which one is the most your favorite?
Which story?
Which drawing you think?
Which drawing?
Yeah.
Oh goodness, I don't know, because I think that they all do so many different things. They remind me of different things. I love the picture of the grandmother of Jeddah, listening to the grandmother under the tree, because it reminds me of my childhood and listening to the stories under the tree with my grandmother, who lived in a little village in Kenya. I also love the hands and the bird, just because it's so sad and moving, and because I know the story, I know what is happening, and it's kind of it's symbolic of sort of culture being stripped away from a people, and the history being stripped away. So it's quite moving and quite powerful image for me. But I love the crow. I love
little crow.
I think all of the illustrations just give so much. I love just the movement, and I love the shadow man, because the shadow man can be anything. It's so abstract, and everybody has that shadow man. So it's a really, it can be anything, and that's the beauty of it, because that's the truth of it as well. The shadow man does come in many different forms for different people.
That's shadow man was the quite difficult one, because I shouldn't really think about what shadow man look like. I really wanted the readers to imagine themselves. So that's I used the experiment, just splashing. Okay, this is shadow man.
But it's wonderful, because I love how you said it just there. You said, I didn't want to show how the shadow man looked, but your work is a visual artist. And so, you know, that is what people do, is they look at your work, and yet at the same time, you're able to leave so much to the imagination. It's amazing. Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. And then I was going to tell you my favorite story on the book, but I wasn't sure. Can I say?
Tell me. Yes, tell me.
Yeah. So then, my favorite, very favorite was the Rahami gazing the her, the fog. That scene is so beautiful. Yeah. So it's so beautifully written, because that's not how Jedi remember.
No. I know that bit exactly, and maybe I'll do that in a reading next time, whenever I'm doing a reading, or maybe if we do a reading together somewhere, then I'll do that as part of it. Yes.
Yeah. So that's my favorite part of the book, very much. Yeah, the old story is amazing. Yeah, there's so much happening, movement, but that scene was quite kind of subtle. It's kind of sadness into that. So that's my very much favorite.
I think it was just really nice. There's a mixture of different emotions, isn't there? It's happy, it's sad, it's exciting, it's frightening, it's difficult. So
ending is great.
Could have done with a few more illustrations, no?
Yeah, your next book then.
Yes, we'll have to do another one. And then you can experiment some more.
That will be interesting. Let's do the next one then.
Okay. Thank you for speaking with me, Eri. And
thank you very much.
What is your website for people who want to learn more?
Okay, so my website is Eri Griffin, one word, -illustrations.com.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, and you can find out more about me at www.marathestoryteller.com. And Blood and Gold is available everywhere, I think, all the bookshops, so Blackwell's and Waterstones, on all the online spaces as well, bookshop.org and others, and of course from the Berlin website itself. So hopefully you can pick up a copy somewhere.